What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video. I don't realize how much I don't like to do vlogs until really just now. But anyway, so I wanted to talk to y'all about the future of the album retrospective series on the channel. Y'all know me, as always. I want to say thank everybody for supporting the videos as long as they have, checking out other videos on my channel. The album retrospectives have become a very big part of this channel's success, or the growth of the channel, I should say. So appreciate y'all for that. All right, so we have the Johnny Gill album, the Ralph Tresvant album, Bobby, Home Again, and One Love. That's 5 albums. Now I'm aware that Ralph has the It's Going Down album, and then Velvet DeVoe, they have the Hootie Mac album, and I know Johnny Gill has like 2, I think, albums between 1990 and 96, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, probably like 2 or 3. So now my thing is this: I've been back and forth on the idea of doing retrospectives on those albums, mainly because of the performance of those particular videos. So meaning, if I were to do an album retrospective on the Hootie Mac album, or It's Going Down, or Provocative, right? I don't want to do them if they don't do the amount of views that I'd want them to do. So I wouldn't want to put all that effort into a video and for it to only get 500 views, or for it to underperform. Now, if you take a look at my video essays playlist, you see these are relatively high performing videos. So if I'm putting all this effort in, I want to get it back in terms of the video's performance. And my biggest concern is, like I said again, like they underperform. Like the Poison album, it did about 7, just under 800 views, which again, it's okay, but to me that's not as many views as I'd like it to have, you know, considering the type of album that we're talking about. So it's not that I won't do them, but they will be kind of like prequels, if you get what I'm saying. So they're not going to be to the extent of the Heartbreak album, or the Don't Be Cruel album, or, you know, some of the albums before that. So, and they'll be kind of done when I feel like doing them versus in order. So meaning I'm going to be doing those 5 albums that I just mentioned earlier, and then I will fill in the gaps, you know, whenever I so choose in the future. So I just wanted to be clear. So those are the videos that are coming next as far as New Edition is concerned. Now I'm gonna read the comments and the suggestions that you guys left on the post that I made last week. And somebody said all of Michael Jackson's albums. Phil, shout out to Phil. He says you can do album retrospectives on Prince. That would be great too. You know, that would be cool. But that's not going to be the next album retrospective at all. Because I think the coolest part about doing them is that I really get a chance to really experience the music from top to bottom, and really looking at the lyrics, listening to the instrumentation, you know, like I always talk about in the videos. So it'd be really cool to do something like that about Prince at some point, but I just feel like Prince has plenty of people making videos about him already on YouTube. So me making videos about Prince isn't really necessary at this time, but maybe in the future, I don't know. But as of right now, I'm not interested in doing Prince, but again, you know, maybe in the future. Someone else says I'd like to see Chris Brown and Omarion have some videos done on them. I always wanted to see album retrospectives on them.
Yes. good and terrible.
Oh, that shit is in over there.
That's not happening. You know, it's like I think Chris Brown and Omarion, I think they're cool, but you know, I'm really focused on music that means something to me and music that I really like. And I don't think I can name, well, as a matter of fact, no, there's one Chris Brown song that I really like, but outside of that one song, I mean, none of his music really stands out to me enough as to where I would want to sit and write a whole video essay about him and his musical history. You know, that doesn't really interest me. So that's not happening. Someone said it'd be cool to see one on 5-Star. Now, I did actually look that group up a few days ago, something like that, just to see who they were, because I actually never even heard of 5-Star. Yeah, not right now. Sorry. Yeah, you know, someone else said, Keith Sweat, I'll give all my love to you. That would be really cool. And here's why. When I first started doing them, I was really thinking like it'd be cool to really do a lot of R&B artists, old school R&B artists, R&B groups, because that's kind of really up the alley of what I'm already doing with New Edition. So I feel like it'd be easier to transition over to other R&B singers from that era. So that way I won't really have to rearrange the format of how I do my videos. And I like Keith Sweat, so you know, maybe at some point, because I think maybe for me it's kind of, I don't want to say overwhelming, but it's kind of like I get bogged down with the idea of doing every single album retrospective on Keith Sweat or any other artist, because I'm sure you guys probably see with the quality of the videos that I make how much actually goes into them. So I don't really want to think of doing every single Keith Sweat, you know, album ever in existence. You know, I don't really have much interest in doing that. So maybe in the future, I don't know. All right, so we got this dude who left this long ass comment with every single album retrospective of New Edition members that I've never done. And I'm gonna tell you something. So I almost responded to you when I first seen this, but I was like, I'm just gonna address this shit in the damn video. Sir, when you leave comments like that, like, I understand you probably want to see like album retrospectives on all of these albums, and I'm sure that you enjoy the videos. I enjoy them too, but dog, like, you've only ever commented on, let's say, like 2 or 3 of my album retrospectives, man, and all you've ever said was, oh, do this album, do that album. So bruh, like, stop with those comments. Like, if you're gonna leave comments on my shit, then actually give your thoughts. Don't hit me with some slate of all the album retrospectives that you want to see without actually being a supporter of the content. You see what I'm saying? So everybody else, you see their comments, be like them. And you got one more time to leave a comment like that, or I'm gonna block your ass. Yeah, so Johnny Gill 1983, that's not happening. Bobby Brown Forever, that's not happening. LSG, that's not happening. Ricky Bell, I don't even know if that Ricardo Campana album is even available on the internet. At least, you know, I know of it, but I've actually never heard it, you know, myself. Yeah, so all of these album retrospectives are not going to happen. You know, and again, it's just, there has to be a return on investment. So if there's not a very big return, then I'm not going to constantly put so much effort into something that I'm not getting that big a return on. You gotta look at it like from a Netflix perspective, right? Netflix, they invest money into shows with the hopes that these shows are going to attract a very big, viewership, which will then equate to a big return on investment. Now, let's say if they make a show and the show doesn't do the numbers that they want it to do, they're going to cancel the show. That's just how it works. So for me, that's how I look at it. When I make album retrospectives, my assumption is, okay, it's going to get this much views and I'll be able to get this much out of it. And if it doesn't do that, then it doesn't really, how should I say, create the lane for another video like it. So yeah, all of those album retrospectives, not happening. But I appreciate you guys leaving the suggestions and everything like that, for sure. Keith Sweat Make It Last Forever album, maybe at some point. Keith Sweat and Prince at some point, sure. How about Levert Sweat Gill? Not right now. Not right now. Michael Jackson or some of the Jacksons albums. And one last person said Michael Jackson. Now, here's my thing with Michael Jackson and the Jacksons albums. And what's funny, I actually have one of the vinyls up here. There is a very strong chance that the next phase of album retrospective videos are going to be on Michael Jackson. Now, the reason why is because I was already like a walking encyclopedia on New Edition prior to me even making album retrospective videos. So all I was doing was taking what I already knew and then just transferring it into YouTube videos that I could watch and enjoy, and other people just happen to enjoy them. So essentially, I'd be doing the same thing on Michael Jackson, and I don't think anyone else has really done that, specifically on his albums. So, and I was also thinking Janet Jackson, because, I'm a big fan of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. So she came into my head actually before Michael Jackson did, only because she came up, I think, in the Don't Be Cruel album retrospective and the Heartbreak album retrospective. So I was like, wouldn't it be cool if I did something, on Janet? And I think, I don't know, if Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis was searching through YouTube one day and saw that I was doing album retrospectives, I think that it would be something that they appreciate, being that she's their, creative muse, and she's been that, pretty much their whole entire career. So, but I know how much work is going to go into making Michael Jackson album retrospectives. I mean, again, like, I think it will be just about the same, because it's not like I have to do a whole lot of research. A lot of this stuff I already know anyway. So I'm leaning towards Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, and other R&B groups. Like, I thought of Boyz II Men, I thought of Troop, because Troop, they don't have like any content on them on YouTube besides like their actual music videos and performances and stuff like that, but no one really talks about them. High Five, I thought about doing some stuff on them. And The Time. So I would do, in fact, Phil, to kind of respond to what you said, I would actually do Morris Day and The Time before I even do Prince. So if I were to ever consider doing Prince, I would have to do Morris Day and The Time, because they're actually my favorite band of all time. So kind of really doing album retrospectives on them would be doing them on Prince in a way, because their first two albums were written and produced primarily by Prince. So technically I'd be doing something on him, really. So yeah, so I didn't think of that until just now, and I love, you know, the time and their music and their whole presentation as artists. Like really, you know, they're definitely my top 3 favorite groups, and number 1 favorite band, but top 3 favorite groups of all time. So yeah, you guys leave in the comments who you're most excited to see. So I guess the comment section would be like a continuation of the previous post that I made. But I think Michael Jackson, you know, his soul. All right, real quick, because I was either thinking 2 things, either going all the way from the Jackson 5, basically throughout his whole entire career, just from the Jackson 5 albums all the way up until Invincible type shit. Because one thing that I love about Michael Jackson is that there's like a story behind every single song, or I don't say every single song, but a lot of his like greatest songs, or the majority of his songs, there's like a cool story that goes with them in addition to the lyrical content, you know, the instrumentation. So it'd be fun to really analyze and dive into his music. And even me, I'm not as like well versed on the Jackson 5 era of music. Like I know the songs, but I've never, you know, dove into them the way that I have the Jackson's records and Michael Jackson's records, obviously. So I was thinking either starting all the way from the beginning and going all the way to the end, or starting with Michael Jackson, going all the way down, you know, from Off the Wall to Invincible, or the Jacksons all the way to Invincible, basically. But either way, it's a lot of work that will go into that. And if you guys didn't already notice, I make these videos once a month because mentally, creatively, I just have to, and physically, I have to just recharge after doing them. So with Michael Jackson, that would kind of really be the same tempo of how I release them for the most part, because I have stuff going on like in real life too. So it's not like I just have all the time in the world to, you know, just write and edit all day. You know, I have other, you know, things that I'm doing. So really that would just be the approach, you know, because to me that's manageable. So anyway, Michael Jackson, the Jacksons, the Jackson 5 is the number 1 option. Then there's R&B groups, Boyz II Men, Troop. Boyz II Men and Troop are really like the ones that I'm thinking the most of. You know, that would be cool. Janet Jackson, and then yeah, honestly, everything else after that is after that. Oh, and Morris Day at the Time. But I think, you know, Michael Jackson really would just be the most fulfilling for me, you know, as a content creator. And it would be enjoyable just to fall in love with the music again and just, you know, talk about how I feel. But I think the coolest thing for me is when I'm really reading the lyrics and then just thinking, you know, what do the lyrics mean to me? And then I talk about them. So y'all see that in the videos. You know, I really, you know, like pick out the lyrics that stand the most out to me. So yeah, and forgive me if my energy is kind of low. It's almost midnight, so I just wanted to bang this video out because I've just been putting it off for a while. But then I also want to throw this out there too. So my channel is a variety channel. It's not just the album retrospective. So I also want just however I am spurred creatively, that's where I'm gonna go, whether it's an album retrospective or otherwise. That's my main concern. But you know, I'm a music lover, so that's where, you know, the inspiration for these album retrospectives even come from. So essentially it's about the artist, but it's really about how I feel about the artist and the music. and that's just a part of me that I'm showing with y'all. So anyway, I appreciate y'all as always, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.
Good luck.